Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So as usual, feel free to check out my own personality story merch. It is built on the idea of celebrating diversity in personality, so you can find a lot of different personality traits on the merchandise and also encouraging you to wear your personality with pride. Feel free to also check out my latest Patreon post on how do you develop in extroverted thinking, as well as how do you develop your extroverted sensing, and many other step-by-step guides in details in the description box below. And also feel free to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already and click on the bell icon for notifications. So today, this topic is technically for all INFJs with the Enneagram type 5 wing 4, but anyone who are able to relate to this message can also feel free to, watch it, relate to it. And so I want to talk about this issue where, as an INFJ 5 wing 4, what is often the case is that you have Enneagram 5 that is a very critical thinking, very logical kind of Enneagram, and you have Enneagram 4 that is very emotional, very intense on the emotions. So anyone who has this, in between, like you are both logical and emotional and you are, processing through all these events going on in the world, this video is for you, okay? People who are able to see things both logically and emotionally. And I realized that today it's really difficult to even have a discussion. So much polarization going on, so much difficulty in even having a normal discussion compared to 10 years ago when that was way easier, when different perspectives could interact with each other. I don't know, people can see different perspectives and find a common ground and so on, and now it's totally not able to. And yeah, this is really talking to people who have this difficulty in navigating through this polarized times and highly, I guess, emotionally charged, politically charged. So the first tip that I have for all INFJ 5 wing 4s and also any other people finding it difficult is really to speak your mind and do not bow down to things that you don't believe in. Do not pretend to believe in things that you don't believe in. So what I mean is that I get it. It's hard to have a conversation with people nowadays. It's hard to bring forth, any form of nuance or disagreements or whatever in wherever you are. It's challenging, and but I would encourage you to speak your views. Make sure that it's your views though. Make sure that it's not some other people telling you what to believe. Make sure that it's your own views, and do not pretend to believe in something that you don't. Okay, so that is something that I myself live by. I don't know if you have heard of Jordan Peterson's book 12 Rules of Life. There is one rule where he says, tell the truth or at least don't lie. And that is personally very important to me, because once people start pretending to believe in something just because everyone else tells them to believe in, or somehow people around them believe in, then it turns out people are going to think that this is the only view. This is the only view that is ever correct to have. But if you are able to speak your mind, if you're able to tell the truth or at least don't lie, then that is not going to provide this false perception that one view is the only way. So what I tend to do, or what I encourage people to do, is to really be honest, okay? Be honest with yourself. Do not lie. Even if you don't want to participate in conversations because it gives you a lot of stress, which I understand, you don't have to do anything that you don't want to do. But don't lie to people if they ask you something and you don't necessarily agree with them 100%. Do not hide your views. Do not suppress anything, because once you suppress it, it's going to get worse, okay? It's going to have this whole area of things that you you just like kind of shoulder it on your own. You just kind of build it up in yourself, and it's going to become very toxic once you find yourself unable to speak on your own behalf. However, do speak in a calm and respectable way, because even if you find yourself in a minority, which is often the case with this Enneagram type, 5.4 is in the minority, and also, INFJ 5.4 is in a very huge minority because already, introverted intuitives, not that many in the world, and coupled with the fact that our Enneagram type is also not common, so it ended up being like a double minority thing. But do be mindful, be calm, be respectful when you state your opinion, whatever that might be, because even if you are in a minority, the way that you present yourself, your attitude is going to speak a lot more than whatever like vision you have, because people are going to judge you by your attitude. If you have a really good idea or a very valid, opinion, but you say it in a way that is really like, alienating, then people are not going to respect you or your vision that much. So attitude is really important. Like even if, there are people around you who do not think the same, or people who are pressuring you to do something or think a certain way and you don't agree, you don't have to react to that in a negative way. Like you can do it in a calm and respectable way, because that is going to change how people perceive you. And, it is still the best way forward, I feel, because you cannot control how other people act, but you can control how you act, and that is going to make a huge difference. Even if it's not obvious at this moment, it's still going to make a huge difference compared to if you were to react in a very like angry way or in a very emotional way, because that's going to directly affect how people perceive you and whatever message that you're going to try to put out. Also, do not expect people to understand you. I think this is really an issue that a lot of like people in the minority opinions or minority whatever perspectives or personality tend to have, is that we want to be understood, right? Like INFJs want to be understood, and Enneagram 5.4 people want to be understood very badly, because we know that we are in the minority. But you have to understand that not everyone is going to understand you. That is just the reality. Like you have to accept the reality that there are going to be a lot of people who do not understand you, who do not know what you're trying to get, like why you're saying these things, or why you're thinking that way, or what is your purpose, And that is okay. Like just accept the fact that most people are not going to get it. And that is a reality. You don't have to fight it. You don't have to argue against it. Just be okay with the fact that people are not going to get it. And, you don't expect them to get it. The thing is, you don't force them to understand you. So it's like, agree to disagree. If you don't understand, that's fine. Like, you do you, and I will do whatever I can, to be able to have a conversation and to live my life the way I want to live. And so don't go out there expecting to, change people's minds or expecting people to understand your point of view. That is really one of the reasons why, conversations don't tend to happen very well nowadays, because people keep expecting to get understood or expecting to change the other person's mind. But I think that is actually counterproductive, because it just gets people more defensive than ever. And also it stresses you out, because you have this added pressure to want other people to understand you when, no such expectation needed, honestly. Also, another tip is to pick your battles. You don't have to, be 100% every single day on the internet. Like, honestly, take a break. Do not be on social media 24/7. Like, this is advice to myself as well. Don't be on social media 24/7, because a lot of times social media is not reality, okay? Like, the things that you see on social media is filtered through an algorithm which shows you deliberately, either, views that you align with, or, people in your vicinity and so on. And it's not reflective of the actual world, where there's so many more different types of people and different types of, news and opinions and whatever. Just try to stay less on social media and more in participation in real life and getting to know people in real life, because that is where you can really make an impact. That is where you can really get people to understand you, or get more people who are on your wavelength. Try to limit your time, because with Enneagram 5.4s especially, we are very intense in both the mental capacity and the emotional capacity, and that can be very draining on social media. So I think social media is good for you to connect with your friends and so on, but there is also this thing where you have to turn off the news, you have to turn off your social media, you have to really try to distance yourself from this daily bombardment, of this negative information. You need to protect yourself from that. It can really feel crushing if you don't try to protect yourself from it. And also have comic relief. Have some kind of comic, moments, maybe watch a comedy, maybe, no political undertones or whatever, nothing newsy, just something that is completely not related to what is going on in the world. Just something funny, something that is lighthearted, that's about life, that's more lifestyle related. I would recommend some movies from the 90s, maybe even from the 80s, I don't know, funny movies, or from the 2000s, just find those movies on the website, Netflix or whatever, and, have a good laugh, really try to have this, moments where you are able to just enjoy fun time, regulate your emotions that way. And also embrace your differences. So this is very important for any personality or any person actually. Whoever felt different from, the people around you for whatever reason, it can be any reason honestly. But I know INFJ 5.4 tend to have this problem very chronically because of the fact that we really do not know a lot of other similar types of Enneagram type, or even in our own life we may not know that many people who are of a similar personality. And so my advice is really to be true to yourself and also to embrace what makes you different. So the thing is, a lot of people don't understand is that they think that, the confident people are people who are very mainstream, and people don't like people who are different. And that is not true. People like people who are confident. So the problem with people who are different is not that they don't like the differences. It's more of how do you present the way that you're different. So the problem lies when, a lot of people who are different, they let that affect their self-esteem. So when they present their differences, for example, if you have a different music taste, if you have a different view, or if you have a different lifestyle, some people let that affect how they see themselves. And so they try to, tone it down, or they try to maybe review it a little bit and then focus on something else that is more acceptable, socially acceptable. But the thing is, because of the way that they present themselves, it makes them look very not confident, and therefore people will react to them because of the fact that they don't look confident. And it's not because they are not appealing necessarily. And if famous people who really made it, it's because they are somehow very different from the rest, and they are able to own it. And obviously there are going to be people who really don't appreciate that, but there are also going to be people who are going to be your fans. And so I think the only way really is to learn to own what is different about you, and what is maybe seen as not so socially acceptable, or not so normal or whatever, and try to like present it in a way that makes you feel good about yourself, and also try not to like hide it from people. Like, don't see it as something that you need to necessarily hide from people, because it's all about like owning it. And the moment that you own it, there are going to be a lot more people naturally who would resonate with whatever differences that you have, and they're going to come forward. And so the way that you present it is really important, and the way that you think about it is actually more important than the difference itself. So that is all for this video. I hope that it helps whoever out there who needs this message. And remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.